It had been years since I'd stepped foot in a casino, let alone one in this city. The lights glared down like glittering, artificial stars, the sound of coins clinking and people cheering clashing in a chaotic symphony. I wasn't much of a gambler, but my friends had convinced me to come out tonight. Something about escaping reality for a bit, losing ourselves in chance and luck. I found myself at a roulette table, the green felt gleaming under neon lights. As I watched the wheel spin, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching me. You know that sensation like a shiver dancing along the nape of your neck? I shrugged it off, blaming the eeriness on the bustling noise on the late hour. Red or black? A dealer asked me, snapping me back to the present moment. I placed a small bet on black and leaned in to watch the ball skip across the spinning numbers. It almost felt hypnotic, a game that lured me into its rhythm. But just as the ball settled, I caught a sight of someone across the room, a flash of familiar blonde hair and wild, dark eyes. My heart stopped. No, it couldn't be her, not her. I turned my head slowly, hoping, praying that I was wrong. But there she was. Emily. She was my ex. The one I'd thought about often. In nightmares, mostly. She wore a tight red dress, the kind she used to love, and her lipstick was the same shade of crimson. Her gaze drifted, and I dared to think she hadn't seen me, that I could melt into the crowd and disappear. But then our eyes locked. Hers widened, and a smile stretched across her lips. A smile that didn't reach her eyes. I hadn't seen her in 3 years. Not since everything ended in a storm of shouting and shattered dishes. Not since the restraining order, which I thought would keep her away. But there she was, alive and glowing under the casino lights, as if she had never disappeared from my life. I tried to swallow, but my throat had gone dry. She started walking towards me. The casino's air felt suffocating, too heavy to breathe. I couldn't tell if it was the lights or the flashbacks of our violent past that made me dizzy. "Hey there," she said to me. A smile plastered her face, and I wondered how something could look so pretty and so dangerous at the same time. "It's been a while." I forced a smile. "Emily, fancy meeting you here." She tilted her head. "I thought you'd left town for good." "I am. I'm just visiting, here with a few of my friends." I motioned vaguely toward a group I wasn't sure I'd find again in this chaos. My legs wanted to move, to bolt, but I was stuck, rooted to the spot. "I've missed you," she said, stepping closer. Her eyes shone, and I remembered the way they'd looked that last night, when things had spiraled so out of control. She leaned in, and I caught a whiff of her perfume, sickly sweet, like roses that were almost rotting. I'm glad fate brought us back together tonight. I wanted to scream that fate had nothing to do with this, but I didn't get the chance. Someone jostled me from behind, and in the chaos of the casino, Emily slipped closer to me, almost chest to chest. "Do you ever think about me?" She told me, her voice dropping to a whisper. Her hand reached for mine, fingers ice cold. "Because I think about you. All the time." I pulled back, breaking the contact. "Look, I have to go. Enjoy your night." She pouted. "Leaving so soon?" Her eyes darkened and she tilted her head in that familiar, unsettling way. "But I've got something to show you." My gut twisted. "Look, I really have to go." I was taking a step back, But as I tried to turn, she grabbed my wrist. Her grip was a steel vise. "You'll want to see this." Something glinted in her other hand, a small silver object, a knife, pocket-sized but wickedly sharp. Panic flooded through me, hot and paralyzing. I looked around, but no one seemed to notice us. The casino was a world of its own, blind and deaf to danger. "I haven't forgotten what you did to me, and I'm not leaving until we settle this." My mind raced, then I did the only thing I could think of. I lunged backward, yanking my wrist free, and stumbling into a crowd of slot machine players. Emily followed, but the chaos worked in my favor. Someone yelled as I pushed my way through, and she hesitated just long enough for me to slip away. I found security near the entrance, breathless and frantic. "That woman," I said, pointing back toward where I thought she was. When I turned around, she was gone, disappeared into the crowd like a ghost. Security took my report, but I knew the look they gave me, the one that said they doubted my story. I felt her eyes on me for the rest of that night, though I never saw her again. And even now, as I lie awake remembering the encounter, I wonder if I'll ever feel safe again. It was a Friday night, and the casino was alive, pulsing with lights and sounds. My friends had drifted off to explore the roulette wheel, leaving me alone to wander around. The allure of blackjack had always tempted me, so I slid into an empty seat at a table in the corner, feeling an electric thrill of possibility. The dealer was a man in his early 50s, with slicked back black hair that seemed to gleam under the neon lights. He wore the standard dealer's uniform, a crisp white t-shirt, a black vest, and a thin, almost forced smile that never quite left his face. But his eyes, something about them made my skin crawl. They were pale, nearly colorless, and they didn't seem to blink, ever. They just fixed on me, unyielding. I shook off the unease. I'd come here to have a good time, to lose myself in a game of luck and strategy. The man dealt me 2 cards, 9 of hearts and a 7 of spades, 16. A lousy number 2 in the game of blackjack. "Hit or stand," the dealer said. His voice was low and hollow, like a whisper echoing through an empty hall. I looked up at him, and his lips curved into a grin that sent a chill down my spine. I couldn't pinpoint why, but I suddenly wanted nothing more than to leave the table. "Hit," I said, trying to sound confident. He flicked a card my way. King of diamonds. 26. Bust. "Better luck next time," he said. But there was something odd in his tone, like he was suppressing laughter. As he gathered my poker chips, his gaze stayed locked onto mine, unblinking. I shifted uncontrollably, my mouth dry. "Deal again," I said, convincing myself I was just imagining things. The casino was full of people now, full of security. Nothing could happen here, but even as I thought it, I felt trapped at the table, as though the rest of the room had blurred away. The dealer shuffled the cards with mechanical precision, his hands moving faster than I could follow. The way the cards slipped through his fingers felt unnatural, almost hypnotic. He laid out 2 new cards for me, an 8 and a 3, 11. "Double down," I said, sliding forward more chips. I wanted to win, yes, but mostly I wanted to break the spell of that dealer's cold, unsettling stare. His smile widened, stretching his lips thin. "Bold move," he whispered, and he dealt me one last card, the King of Clubs, 21. Relief washed over me. I smiled, but his expression didn't change. I tried to shake off the fear. Guess it's my lucky day, I said toward him. Luck, he replied, drawing the word out, savoring it. It's a funny thing, isn't it? Comes and goes, like a ghost. Yeah, I guess. He leaned in towards me. Do you believe in ghosts? The question caught me off guard. I laughed, but it came out strained. Not really. His smile stretched further, revealing teeth that were almost too white, too perfect. Oh, but they definitely believe in you. Before I could respond, a gust of icy air swept over me, making me shiver. It felt out of place, unnatural, as though it had come from somewhere deep beneath the earth. The lights above flickered, and for a split second, the entire room seemed to dim. The dealer's pale eyes gleamed in the half-darkness. I pushed back from the table, heart racing. You know, I think I'm done here for now, I muttered. I fumbled to gather my chips, but his hand shot out, faster than I would have thought possible, and covered mine. His grip was cold, so cold it actually burned. Stay, he said. One more hand. I yanked my hand back, stumbling as I stood. The chair behind me clattered to the floor. My heart felt like it was trying to punch its way out of my chest. People around the table glanced at me, some raising eyebrows at the commotion, but the dealer didn't seem to notice them. His smile never wavered, and his eyes never blinked. The room felt suffocating, the flashing lights now harsh and disorienting. As I turned to leave, I glanced back at him one last time. The dealer was still watching me, but he'd stopped smiling. Instead, he lifted a hand and gave a slow, deliberate wave, as if saying goodbye. Or maybe, see you soon. I left the casino in a hurry, my friends calling after me, but I couldn't stop. Even in the night air, my skin felt cold, as if his hand was still gripping mine. And when I finally dared to look back at the casino's glowing entrance, I could have sworn I saw a shadow in the window, pale eyes unblinking, waiting for me to play that final hand. It was supposed to be a casual night out, just a chance to blow off some steam with a few friends of mine, and spend some extra cash on some slot machines. The casino floor was bustling with life. Lights flashing, machines beeping, and people cheering or groaning as they watched their money disappear into blinking displays. I wasn't expecting to win anything serious, but that's how it usually works. The house always wins, right? I picked a random machine tucked away near the corner, a brightly colored game with dancing leprechauns and four-leaf clovers. I fed it a $20 bill, sat back, and began pressing the button. The first few spins were uneventful, as usual. A small win here, a total bust there, but nothing crazy. I was down to my last $5 when I decided, what the hell, and hit the max bet button. The screen exploded in a frenzy of lights and sounds, blaring music that nearly made me jump out of my seat. The word Jackpot flashed across the display in blinding gold letters. I had won. I couldn't believe it. My mind went blank as the realization sank in. The payout was an astronomical $20,000. People around me turned to look, some congratulating me, others eyeing me with barely disguised envy. My hands were shaking as a casino attendant came over to me to process the payout. Hey, congratulations! You're quite the lucky one tonight. After a few minutes of paperwork, they handed me the winnings, a mix of thick, neatly bundled $100 bills. I shoved everything into my jacket pocket and tried to steady my nerves. Winning that much money all at once felt surreal, and as much as I tried to enjoy the rush, a cold sense of paranoia crept in. People were watching me. It wasn't just excitement anymore. I could feel eyes following me, their interest sharpening as they realized how much I was walking away with. I decided to call it a night and leave. My friends were off somewhere, probably at the bar, but I didn't want to stick around and draw more attention to myself. I slipped through the crowd, heart pounding, glancing back every few seconds. At first I thought I was just being paranoid, but then I saw a suspicious figure in the distance. It was a man in a dark hoodie and jeans, and he was standing near one of the slot machines when I won the jackpot. As soon as we locked eyes, he quickly looked away, but I knew he had been watching me. I tried to brush it off, telling myself that I was just on edge from the adrenaline of winning, but as I made my way toward the exit, I saw him again. This time he was closer, blending into the crowd, but always with eyes on me. I tightened my grip on my jacket, feeling the hard bundles of cash pressing against my side. The excitement of winning was gone, replaced by the gnawing anxiety that something was very, very wrong. I made it to the main entrance and pushed through the revolving doors, stepping into the cool night air. The parking lot was vast and dimly lit, with rows of cars stretching out into the darkness. I started walking fast, but trying not to look like I was panicking. My car was parked a decent distance away from the entrance, and every step felt like an eternity. I told myself not to look back, that I was just scaring myself, but I couldn't help it. I turned my head, and there he was, stepping out of the casino, eyes locked onto me. My pulse was racing now, my breath coming in and out. I picked up the pace, my footsteps echoing in the empty lot. The man started following, matching my speed. I was tempted to run, but something in me knew that running would make me a target. Instead, I reached into my jacket pocket, fumbling for my keys, my hands shaking so badly I nearly dropped them on the ground. I finally reached my car, unlocked it, and threw myself into the driver's seat, locking the doors immediately. My fingers scrambled for the ignition, and the engine roared to life. I glanced up just in time to see the man standing a few feet away, bathed in the glow of a flickering streetlight. He didn't run or try to force his way in. He just stood there, his face obscured by the shadow of his hood, watching me. I slammed the car into reverse, tires screeching as I backed out and sped away. I slammed the car into reverse, tires screeching as I backed out and sped away. My heart felt like it would explode, but the parking lot felt far away now, behind me, dark and empty. Only when I was several blocks away did I pull over, breathing hard, trying to calm down. The streets were quiet, nothing but the distant hum of traffic. I told myself I was safe now, that I'd made it out. But as I sat there, hands trembling on the steering wheel, I couldn't shake the image of that man's shadow face. Couldn't forget the way he had watched me, like a predator eyeing its prey. I still have the money tucked away in a safe at home, but every time I think about that night, about how close I felt to something truly dangerous, I wonder if the price of luck is a curse of paranoia, and if one day that shadowed figure will find me again.